The views and expressions heard on the Don Bruiser Show are intended for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome one and all to the Don Bruiser Show. This is part 2 of the college football week 1. Let's start off the show with our sponsor. I'll be back in just a moment. This is the Don Bruiser Show.
If you have a scratch in your smelly snatch, use LaFresh Douche.
And we're back to the Don Bruiser Show. Thank you to our sponsor, LaFresh Douche, for that everyday clean feeling. And now back to the show. I am still going solo here today. Skip LaCroix is not with me after the weekend. I think he might be a little hurt. I'm sorry. I think my prediction on Miami, unfortunately, buddy, looks to be pretty accurate. Now again, it's just the first game. Miami can easily come back and have a wonderful year, and maybe they'll turn it around and be champions at the end of the season. But this first game against LSU, yeah, that was ugly. They did not show up. They did not look prepared. But I'm not here to crush Miami. I'm not here to completely crap all over them. But I think even Miami fans would agree that was not pretty. But we will let's go ahead and start it off here. This is my two-parter. This is where I started off the first half, just did the top 25. I picked the teams who I thought would win, and now we will see how accurate I was. I honestly don't even remember who I picked to win or lose. I think when I go through the list here, I'll be able to remember. But we'll go with Alabama against Louisville. Alabama crushed Louisville like I kind of thought they would. It was 51-14. Clemson faced Furman. They crushed them 48-7. Georgia faced Austin, PA, 45-0. Ugly. Wisconsin crushed Western Kentucky 34-3. A lot of people will be like, well, they should have put up 80 on them. It's like, well, they beat them. They probably pulled a bunch of their starters out and just kind of ran the ball out and let it go from there. But Wisconsin beat Western Kentucky 34-3. Ohio State beat Oregon State 77-31. I did watch all that game. They look like, I think I said before on my first part of this, Ohio State, they look like a really offensive, juggernaut. Defense definitely needs to tighten up on some spots. But they, these are all, according to Skip, cupcake teams that the top teams will face. And, it's partially true. A lot of these teams will face, lower level schools to start off the season. You don't want to have Ohio State and Alabama the very first game of the year. But then number 6, Washington versus Auburn. Washington ended up losing that game 21-16. So I think I picked Washington to win that. But, that was a close game, good game. Just a close, didn't know which way it could end up, and Auburn ended up pulling that one out. Oklahoma, they ended up beating Florida Atlantic, crushing them 63-14. And then there's Miami, number 8, against LSU. They ended up losing 33-17, but that felt a lot more of a blowout. Even the score shows that was ugly. That was ugly, and they just didn't. I don't really know what to say about Miami. I predicted that they were way overranked. That seems to be accurate, but they also didn't seem to want to show. They seemed like they could just walk in there and just win. Nope, LSU won that one. Auburn beat Washington 21-16. So Auburn was number 9. They'll most likely move up, and Washington will move down. 10 Penn State. Oh goodness. You have no idea how much I was hoping Appalachian State was going to win that. Oh, they had their chance to beat Penn State. And that would have been another awesome, amazing upset by Appalachian State. They beat Michigan in Michigan and in Ann Arbor like 10 years ago, and it was fantastic. I was hoping they could do it again. Penn State ended up winning that 45-38, and I don't know any Penn State fans that would be jumping for joy right now after that win. They have to be going, thank God, but they can't be proud of it. And but Penn State ended up winning that game in overtime. And Michigan State, they faced Utah State. Now that was a lot closer than expected, 38-31. Michigan State won that, but boy, that one was very, very close. Utah almost got it. Utah's a tough team. Number 12, Notre Dame beat Michigan. That was Michigan yet again. They just did not seem to have it. That score also is closer than what it was, at least what it felt like. Michigan doesn't seem to want to show for some of these games. Now I say that, and then they'll end up beating Ohio State at the end of the year. Let's hope not. But Notre Dame beat Michigan 24-17. So we'll see where that puts both of them in the rankings. Stanford beat San Diego State 31-10. No shocker there, really. Michigan, like I said, lost against Notre Dame 24-17. 15, the Trojans, they beat UNLV 43-21. No shocker there. 16, TCU beat Southern U 55-7. That was in a big blowout. West Virginia, number 17 beat Tennessee 40-14. No surprise. Mississippi State beat SFA 63-6. A huge blowout. Again, no big deal. We haven't gotten to the FSU and Virginia Tech game. That is on this evening. I'm recording here on Monday. So I think I picked FSU to win that. I'm sticking with that. We'll see what happens tonight. UCF beat Connecticut 56-17. Boise State beat Troy 56-20. No surprises there. Texas lost against Maryland. See, that's what I was saying. Texas, I just don't get it. How you just can't seem to. You should have. I know other schools come and pick from your crop there in Texas and take some of these studs that you have, but this is Texas. You guys should, you live and breathe football. That is what you do, and I'm always just so surprised. It's just such a surprise to me how that team they never seem to be on top. But they lost to Maryland 34-29. And Oregon beat Bowling Green 58-24. No huge surprise there, but I was kind of hoping for Bowling Green to maybe do something crazy and upset everybody. And then there was LSU and Miami. LSU number 25 beat number 8 Miami 33-17. That is definitely the big upset of the whole weekend. Yeah, I'm sorry, Skip, man. And he's not with me, like I said, but I have to touch on this game because it was the big upset. I felt Miami was overrated, too high ranked. I think they had a big ego going in, thinking they could just walk in and suddenly win the game. And you were pretty much trounced. They started turning it on in the fourth quarter a bit, made a run. They ended up scoring, but this game was 33-3 for a good portion of it. It was just ugly. It was just ugly. I'm somewhat disappointed in Miami because I think it would have been fun for Skip and myself to have some good back and forth on our teams. And part of me wanted to see Miami and Ohio State possibly play because I'm like I said, I'm an Ohio State fan. He's Miami. I think it'd be good radio and good banter back and forth on our teams if we were able to face off with each other again. And but I mean, it's still possible. I mean, heck, Ohio State can lay an egg, no doubt, and can fall down. And last year I can't even remember who they lost to. It was some ugly loss, and it was just putrid and kind of spoiled them not to be able to get in the playoffs. But this wasn't as bad as Ohio State's loss last year. But still, you're number 8 and you lose against LSU in that fashion. Not a pretty picture. And I'm sure that team is feeling it today. Felt it yesterday, and it just was ugly. I don't really know how else to put it. They didn't look prepared. They did not look at all just ready for that game. They have a lot of, like I said, a lot of ego, a lot of feeling that they kind of entitlement that they're back, and it didn't seem to want to stick. But I won't keep harping on Miami. Like I said, this is the first game of the year. They did face a ranked team, even though there's 25. They did face a ranked team, and it is what it is. We'll see where they go from here if they're able to pick themselves up and keep on trucking, and work their way back to up in the rankings and possibly even make a run for the playoffs by the end of the year. We'll see. They got a whole season ahead of them now, though. But also Texas, Tom Herman. You should. I have some issues with that man, but him losing like that against Maryland. It was a close game, 34-29, but still, everyone kind of had their high hopes in Tom Herman, and he didn't. another bad loss to start the season out. So not pretty. But that was a closer game. They could have won it, but still, Texas losing again, right off the bat is not a good start. Michigan as well, losing like that right off the bat. They were ranked 14. Notre Dame's ranked 12. That's much closer in rankings, so I don't see them dropping too terribly far, or Notre Dame going up much. We'll see what happens. Only a couple teams lost up there in the top 10, so we'll see where Notre Dame gets bumped up. Michigan, Harbaugh can't win the big one, and he's never really has. He's gotten to the big games a couple times, but he's never won it. And he's 1-6 against the Big Ten teams. Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State. I think he's now 0-2 against Notre Dame. So it's kind of his seat is definitely heating up there in Michigan. I don't know how it couldn't be. He's on his 4th year. If this season doesn't turn around for him and he goes on pretty much an undefeated streak from here on out, I have to say that school will be giving a hard look on why they're paying him that type of money, and really nothing to show for it. Brady Hoke had a better record. Heck, I think Rich Rodriguez had a better record. So not pretty there. But it's the first game of the year where we'll see where a lot of these teams, if they're able to improve or if they keep kind of falling down. Let's see, where else? Washington, Auburn. Auburn won that. That was a close game. Not a huge surprise. I guess it could have gone either way for me. Penn State, Appalachian State. God, that was. I was praying to God Appalachian State could have pulled that one off. That was. They really should have. They kind of let Penn State. They scored too quickly in the 4th quarter to beat to take the lead against Penn State, and they left too much time on the clock for Penn State to basically go down the field. They gave a really big kickoff return, and it came close. They went to overtime, but Penn State ended up pulling it out, unfortunately. I also want to say LSU beating Miami. Just another little bit for Skip. You lost against an Ohio State quarterback. You lost against an Ohio State quarterback, and I'll let you look at his past a little bit so you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was an Ohio State quarterback LSU has and they took out Miami. So yeah, sorry, bud. It's just the way the cookie crumbles here, the way the old ball bounces. Like I keep repeating, it is the first game of the year. I'm slightly rubbing it in a little bit to Skip. He said something recently that kind of pissed me off a little bit, saying Ohio State schedules nothing but cupcake teams. And it's like, to start the season out, it usually is that way for a lot of these bigger teams. But, they face their conference. They face everyone in their conference. They do what they have to do to win, like a lot of these other teams do. And it is what it is. They face the conference, and then if they get in the playoffs, they face the powerhouse teams. So they play the games that are scheduled, and you can say that they're all cupcakes all you want, but the fact of the matter is that they are a powerhouse team. It is what it is. It is what it is. Sorry, Skip, but you can talk trash, and you can. Well, I love to get into it even more with you if you can ever show up for the show. we'll see where we end up at the end of the year. Like I said, Ohio State can definitely lay a big egg and ruin their season by some stupid loss they shouldn't have. Start the season out, if Ohio State would have faced Miami to start the season out, do you really think do you think you would have beaten Ohio State? You just got your butt handed to you by LSU. Was LSU a cupcake team for you? Because it would have been a cupcake team for Ohio State. So
Shut the hell up, bitch. You're an alcoholic.
thank you, Dr. Phil. What do you consider a cupcake team? Miami would, if Ohio State would have faced Miami, do you feel that would have been equal? Number 5 versus number 8. Would that have been a cupcake team for Miami fans? Do you think we should have faced someone higher ranked than us if we're ranked number 5? Or if we would have faced you, after you just got your butt handed to you by number 25, I feel that Ohio State would have beaten you, and I think Ohio State would have beaten LSU. I'm feeling pretty confident about my team, and we'll see where I end up. It can be completely dead wrong, but I think as the season goes along here, they're going to get more and more, they're going to get stronger, they're going to get more confidence, and they're going to be a force this year. Now, as an Ohio State fan, if you're listening, you're probably like, oh, he's only saying that because he's a fan. Of course he picks Ohio State. And as a fan, I there might be some truth to that. But again, I try not to be biased as best I can. I really feel that Ohio State is going to be a hard team to beat this year. I think with the Urban Meyer situation, they're going to have a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to want to be. They're going to be firing on all cylinders whenever Herbs comes back. I'm not talking about all this off-season stuff. So if you're listening and you're like, oh, well, Urban Meyer is a piece of crap, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the guys on the field. We're talking about the football. We're talking about the game. That's what I'm discussing right now. I'm not talking about that other stuff right now. I might dive into that at another point. But right now, I'm just talking about the game. And Alabama, they're going to be a hard team to beat, like usual. I would love to knock them out of the playoffs like we did a few years back. Clemson's going to be a really hard team to beat as well. Georgia, yeah, they're going to be tough. They're kind of my iffy, are they going to get in the playoffs or not? But they are going to be a good team. They did lose some pieces, though, so I'm a little stuck on that, but I feel Ohio State will end up winning it all. I just feel that they're super strong on offense. I think their defense is they definitely need some fine tuning. But I'll get off Ohio State. I'm telling everybody since this is my first show on football. I'm a fan of Ohio State, but I don't want to just stick on them. But I have to talk about them because they are a top 5 team, at least for right now, and I feel that they actually will be ranked higher. Maybe not quite yet after the first week because everyone else in the top 5 won, but I think even in the coaches poll they have Ohio State ranked up, I think 4 or 5. But I will definitely be swinging some garbage at Michigan, Big Ten. This is just the starter show for me on football. We'll see where we end up as the weeks progress. I'll have my other shows along with this, but I wanted to at least start the season out with a few predictions, doing the top 25, and then doing the separate, where my picks ended up. Honestly, don't know where I was at. I think I was pretty accurate on most of my stuff, but it's not a huge shocker at the first game of the year on who will win. But the Miami loss is definitely a big one, and we'll see where we go. I hope I was able to give a little insight. I hope I was able to. You all were enjoying my little bit of talk I'm doing. This is the very beginning, and it will just get more and more interesting as the weeks go on. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and we will catch you on the next Don Bruiser Show.